Hey everyone, happy Sunday. All right, so you saying I finished my hair. And so I meant earlier I was watching a little bit, but earlier I didn't mean it was past my back, it was past my shoulders. But anyways, and I trimmed my ends as you can tell. They're trimmed a little bit. But had a lot of dead ends. But I forgot something. This is how you can tell I'm getting pretty freaking old, right? Um, so one of the things that I wanted to discuss about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, um, it's really late. Hold on a second. Oh, hold on one second. I forgot. Okay, sorry. So one of the things I forgot to discuss about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is Taylor. Okay, that was the real reason why I wanted to come do a stream earlier, but I my mind was on the substance abuse and touching on the topic of Michael Jackson. I know that some people are very sensitive about him. I am as well. However, that's where my mind frame was focused on. Um, but when I first watched the series Beverly Housewives, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I noticed that a few wives did not like their husbands, and I can tell, like, ugh, like it was really cringy for a bit. Um, and Taylor was one of those women who I can tell did not like her husband based off of how she treated him. Um, One of the examples is, and I'm just going to say it because it's at the forefront. Excuse me. He got a dog for his daughter, and she did not want the dog. She was very upset. She basically said she would have another child to take care of, and that's something that she didn't want to. She already had to deal with taking care of her own child, and it was a bit difficult for her, so she didn't want to take on another responsibility. It's how it came off to me, and I believe she said in the show. Um, and she took her daughter to the doctor and basically had the doctor say that she was allergic because she had a rash breakout, or allergic reaction to the dog. To me, if anybody knows anything about allergic reactions, it does not necessarily, well, allergic reactions happen differently. I'm learning with my own child, but it's like breaking out in hives and stuff, or some reactions, your lungs close, or airwave close. And so I call BS because, for one, I said, you're just going to take her word and looking at the surface of her skin, that fair skinned people bruise very easily. So I'm like, you're not going to run any tests. Because I know when my child was younger, I took a blood test for him, and I don't even think I went back to go get the results. Oh, and I don't know what happened. It was a very long time ago. When he was like a baby or toddler around that time. But anyways, so I'm like, why wouldn't you do a blood test to confirm that she's allergic to the dog or whatever? And so I was kind of like on standoffish with Taylor in that situation. She didn't like something, she did something about it. Um, Give me 1 second. And my thing is, Russ definitely fought tooth and nail to keep the dog. He wanted that dog. Um, okay. He wanted that dog, and he was really upset with um Taylor for even trying to come up with the scenario that his daughter was allergic to the dog. Um, Excuse me. So it took a bit, I think, throughout the season. Um, it also showed me like she's very manipulative and calculated. Um, am I surprised about that? No. Um, um, so it told me that they are very calculated. Well, she is. I can't really remember at the top of my head another reason why I could tell that she didn't like her husband. I remember they were saying like she described Russ as this big country hunk and everything, and when he came on the scene, he really did not. His features did not live up to her description, I guess. And I'm not saying that I know for sure or anything, or disagreeing with the ladies. But what I will say is that based off the video of the episodes where he was on screen, it never gave off to me that he was abusive, that he was verbally abusive in any type of way. I didn't see that. I remember one time she was at Kyle's party. No, I'll even back up. When they were in Vegas, I guess, and they were saying inappropriate things that he did not like, saying, he wears dresses or heels or something like that, behind closed doors. And I believe he probably took offense to that because some men are very protective of their manhood, I'll say it like that, and could be easily offended when you insinuate homosexual activity. And so I believe once they began doing that, he was like, you know what, we could just leave. And that was the first sign showing that he was, I don't want to say controlling or dominant, but he was the man of their relationship. He led their relationship. So if he said they're leaving, then they're leaving. And that gave Taylor the opportunity to say, oh, well, um, he's very controlling and it's nothing I can do. I just have to listen, or whatever the case may have been. And so the next thing I remember is Kyle's white party, the first year of the series. And he also wanted to leave again. I forgot what reason. He doesn't seem like a social person. I will say that. And not everyone is a social butterfly like Kyle, right? She seems to mesh very easily, and it's, her environment. She lives in Beverly Hills, so she knows how to live amongst those type of people. And so what was I gonna say? So he kind of left or whatever, And he didn't say anything like, if you don't leave with me right now, then I'm going to do something to you, you know. He didn't say, excuse me, he didn't say like, oh, he was going to hurt anyone or anything like that. He didn't give off any anger, any body language of aggression. Like he said, if you want to stay, you can stay, you know, and he just left. Now, if I'm wrong, y'all have a different perspective, please comment and let me know. But that's my viewpoint of it. Um, he was very to himself, quiet. I think the guys had one interaction with him, and he seemed pretty cool. He didn't really say anything outlandish or out of the way. Um, Even with the guys, he was very reserved, and that's just how some people are. Um, and so it just, I feel like Taylor was playing both sides, and this is how I know she was playing both sides. Well, I won't say that. This is my viewpoint. I don't know any facts. I don't know Taylor personally. I never hung out with them. This is just my point of view based off as a viewer, right? Um, what happened? So when there were stories being put out about Taylor and her marriage, right? And she was trying to figure out where it was coming from, and she kept blaming Lisa. That kind of frustrated me for a bit because I'm like, Lisa's too busy running her business and taking care of her household and just, you know, just in a different world. What time does she have to go out and sell stories about you? Like, what makes you so important? And then when you find out, it's like $2,500 or something like that, whatever the case may have been, $100, whatever they were saying it was for, it's not even worth, to me, my point of view, Lisa's time. I don't even think that's enough to cover her mortgage. What I like to say, mortgage, okay, but I'm just being funny. Mortgage, right? And so, why would Lisa waste her time? And I don't feel like Lisa is that cold of a person. Me personally, I feel like Taylor sold her own story and tried to create this story, putting her husband in a bad light, in a negative light. And so her husband, I believe, sent emails to Lisa first, saying that things are not true or whatever. Even in the emails, though, to Lisa, he didn't say anything aggressive. Now, when it got to Camille, I'm trying to remember everybody's name. When it got to Camille, and Camille finally came out and said that allegedly Russ was physically abusing um what's her name? Taylor. That's when he sent a, I guess, aggressive email, according to Paul, right? That it was very nasty and disrespectful or something like that. Now, we don't see what was said in the email. They don't show what the email says or anything, but I guess they threatened to sue her for defamation. Now, I feel like if somebody was tarnishing my character and slandering my name, saying that I am abusing someone and it can affect my business, I would also send out an email, whether it's friends or not. But what stood out to me in that conversation when everybody um, confronted Russ and Taylor at the door, at Kyle's door for the second year of the White Party, is that um, Kyle scared to tell her that she's not allowed to come in, and I believe I'm trying to remember everybody's name. Sorry. The second, sorry, Cal trying to tell Taylor that she can't come in, and crying and being distraught and dramatic to me. Um, Adrian had to step in, and tell Taylor, like, you know, you can't come in because of the email you sent Camille, and Camille's very uncomfortable. Her attorney told her to stay away from you guys and whatever, whatever. And instead of being, well, Taylor says, what email? Nobody sent her an email. And she acted like she didn't know about the email. And Russ confirms, yeah, I sent her a nice email. I just asked her not to take back what she said because it's not true or whatever. And that's when Paul says, no, it was a very nasty email. I read the email. It was very disrespectful. And instead of defending Camille or saying, honey, like, why would you do something like that? We shouldn't, you should have allowed me to handle it or something. She turns around and says, well, you know what? We'll just go back to Vegas on our private jet or something like that. She makes a remark like how Camille said during that interaction when everybody was having an intervention for Taylor, like she was like, "Oh, we're gonna go on a vacation." That's basically what she did again, and turned around with Russ in a car. And then I think Kyle noticed the manipulation that Taylor was doing and ran behind her. Was like, "Well, hold on a second. Camille was only repeating what you told everybody." And so they were able to tell, because I was like, please, somebody tell Russ that it didn't just come out of nowhere. It was Taylor who said it. And so I was so relieved when Kyle said, uh, Taylor said that. And Taylor was like, no, she exaggerated what I said. And she was like sitting in the car, nervous that the truth had came out, and still kept spinning it, saying, yeah, she exaggerated what I said. And I know I shouldn't have um, confided in her about family business and all this stuff. And Russ is like, exaggerated? That never happened. Even, and I've said this before, I don't know if I did a video before, but because I talk when I watch the video, the shows, but I'm just yelling at the screen like, why are you not talking to your life coach about this? You are in therapy, couples therapy, one-on-one therapy. You haven't told anybody else. The only person you told this to is the girls in your circle. How come none of them know? How come you haven't told any of these people? Because they are not bound by confidentiality if someone is being harmed. So that was kind of a red flag for me. Me knowing that, like, if anybody's going to get you help and the support that you need, why would you not confide in these people that can give you the support you need? So she she's sitting in the car with Russ, and he's like, that never happened. And even before, when he was having dinner with Kyle, I believe it was Kyle and Mauricio. My thing is with that situation, one, her daughter does not come off to me as a traumatized child. She seems very spoiled. She acts just like Taylor. I will say that. I was like, oh yeah, you act like your daughter. Like her whole energy is her daughter, but she doesn't come off as traumatized by seeing violence. And then I was thinking to myself, Kyle, if you know that these violent things are going on in in this household, why would you bring your family over to this house and have dinner with them? I'm not understanding that. If you believe it, right? And several things stood out to me. They kept saying at the intervention, they said, well, how can we believe that if every time we see Russ, he's pleasant, he's kind to us, and we've never seen any bruises on you? We've never seen him um, violent at all. We've never seen anything. And what's the next thing that we saw? Once she got rejected at the door, she went back to her therapist, and then said, whatever was going on in the household. And he was like, well, now he's causing you to lose all your friends. Her therapist is saying, now he's causing you to lose your support system, your friends, and all this stuff. When is it going to be time to walk away and all this stuff? And the next thing we know is she's separating from him, right? And the other thing to me was she switched life coaches, I believe twice, several times. I don't know if it was the same therapist or whatever, but once that therapist told her, you're gonna lose out on your friends, it's like he was guiding her. He didn't let her figure it out on her own, for one. And then next thing you know, she decided to separate from Russ, and he he got rid of himself. My issue is I don't think Russ would have done that. I don't think he would have left that child by himself. Something else that came to my mind, the reason why I'm saying that, after she said she got rid of the dog, right? And Russ fought tooth and nail. I wish he would have took his own child to the doctor and got tested, and then like really fight. But I guess guys just don't have time for that because they're too busy making money or whatever. But I wish he would have gotten his daughter tested and been like, you know what, this is very unhealthy, Taylor. You have to manipulate situations just because you don't want something or like something. That's very unhealthy and mentally ill. And even Lisa said that she got her the support that she needed as far as I believe mental service. But so she got rid of the dog. Next birthday, during that same year she got rejected at the door, they had another birthday party for her daughter. And instead of a dog, he bought her a horse. And I looked it up. I said, if you're allergic to a dog, wouldn't you also be allergic to a horse? And they said, yeah, because they have similar dandruff or something. Um, so I was like, but she wasn't upset about the horse. She accepted the horse. She didn't say anything. And my thing is, does she think you guys are that stupid that you're not gonna look it up? And I'm so angry at Andy. Like every reunion I was watching, I was like, what the freak? Why are you not holding her feet to the fire? It made me so angry. Um, so the next thing we know, he yeeted himself after like 2 weeks or something after she left him, which made me feel like when she doesn't like something, she gets rid of it. She said she believes that it was intentional. She doesn't believe it was self inflicted. And so I also agree with her. However, I feel like it was her. I feel like it was her. I do. I feel like it was her. She didn't even grieve. She didn't even grieve properly. Um, she the next season, third season, right? She came back smiling and just having a good old time. Like I'm trying to think. Marissa, she lost her father-in-law, but that's her father-in-law, right? That's not her partner. Let me use Dana as a better example, right? Her friend Dana, she Taylor even met with her. Dana is sitting up there dropping drinks all over herself, erratic, um, just out of control, right? Trying to act like she's all right. Now, her spouse left her or they broke up, whatever the case may have been, and she was acting like that. I feel like Taylor was acting like her they broke up instead of her husband taking himself away from this earth, right? Taking his own life. I don't know if I can say that on the internet, but she was acting weird to me. That's all I can really say. Um, and I get, we're not gonna, as viewers, we're not gonna want to see her cry every 5 minutes. But something that was kind of weird, and even I believe Yolanda or somebody said it. Every time that the discussion was on Brandy and Adrian or somebody else, she would turn it around to talk about herself. She said something while they were at dinner, like, "Oh, none of these people know what I'm going through. I went through worse than anybody here." She said, "I had a yeeted husband. I want her to be in the same situation if she found Dave. You know, y'all go watch the show. Y'all will see what she said. Like, she found every opportunity to use her husband's death as a storyline, and it wasn't even like in a grieving manner. It was just like, let me use this as leverage. That's how I took it. And it was inorganic. I think it's inorganic. Like, it wasn't natural at all. And so I was like very irritated with her every time she came on the screen with her signature line for the season. I was like, please go. I didn't give up this zip. I didn't get this far in the zip code just to give it up or whatever. I was like, please leave. I don't want to see Taylor anymore. It's disgusting. I strongly believe she had something to do with her husband, and it's sad. So then come like throughout, it wasn't even a year of him passing that she started to date someone, she said. And she was erratic. She was acting belligerent, and the pot that calling the kettle black, Kim had to call around like, oh, I'm very concerned for you. I've seen this behavior in myself. I also, like I said, believe that Kim was still dealing with substance abuse during this time as well. Um, like I said, medication abuse. And so and so she told Taylor, like, yeah, what did she say? Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, I think something's seriously wrong with you. I'm concerned. She didn't know where her daughter was. She didn't she couldn't keep her emotions together. It wasn't like, even when she had the mental breakdown, it wasn't even like that. It was just like Jekyll and Hyde type of behavior. I felt like she was probably harming him. That's how concerning it was for me. Like, she is not stable. She's not a stable person to me. Looking as a viewer, looking, she's not a stable person to me. So, um, what was I gonna say? It wasn't a year, and then I think around the time that he passed away, and I guess she was trying to get her way back into the group, and they went to dinner or something, and she invited her attorney friend. Once I saw him, I said, "Oh no, she's dating him." I think he was helping her with the settlement of the lawsuit that was against her husband at the time, and that she had to pay for. And come to find out at the end, they were dating and falling in love, and it was like, hell no. That was weird. He's not even cold in the grave. And she even said it. She was like, now it's my turn to start dating, so you guys better find me somebody. And then start crying a second later or some crap. And then talking about, I have a dead I'm sorry, I have a deceased husband and all this stuff. Like, it just was concerning, and I don't like Taylor. I'm sorry. And I'm scared. I don't believe that that man would have took himself out of here as much as he loved his daughter. And my whole thing is, was there a will? You trying to tell me he left nothing for his daughter? How much he gave and put energy into his daughter. I'm not saying he was the best, right? Because like I said, he could have went to the doctor and figured it out for himself. He could have did certain things. But he made sure that his daughter was at least happy, right? For the most part. And you're trying to tell me he said, well, to hell with it and just took himself out of here, leaving his daughter with this unstable person? I just don't believe that. I don't believe it personally. But y'all tell me what y'all think. Cause I'm just not gonna get off of Taylor's neck. Hopefully she doesn't come back. I don't want to see Taylor anymore. Hopefully, y'all pray for me if I have to see her through another season. I don't want to see her through another season at all. At all. I don't. I don't. So y'all pray for me, like I said. I told y'all my hair is like past my shoulders though. Let me hold my head straight. It's past my shoulders. So it's coming along. It's coming along. Y'all go back and look at my other videos where I was bald headed. Okay. I've come a long ways, but I'm on season 4 now, so I'm definitely Team Yolanda. I was surprised to find out that Yolanda was diagnosed with Lyme disease after being on the show for one season. I was like, dang, that was fast. I guess her her health started declining during the her second season on the show. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely Team Lisa, Yolanda. Um, because Brandy is only loyal to herself, I can see that. But she does defend Lisa. I'm just praying that she don't mess it up. That's what I'm hoping. I'm like, please don't mess up your allies, your alliance with Lisa or Yolanda, because those people are on your team. So there should be no reason why you guys are arguing. And try to work it out if there is anything that goes awry. Um, I wish Kyle will get off the show. Her sister, if she comes on the show again and is under the influence, I don't understand how you guys dealt with this. I think this was during the time where they was holding people like they renewed their contract each season because Adrian didn't come to the reunion, and you can tell Andy was really pissed about it because everybody wanted to hold her accountable, and it does make her look guilty because a lot of stories was getting out there, and she was like the only one um, privy to certain information, and now it's like no stories is really out there. They're just made up stories coming out of nowhere. Um, but anyways, so I think they put in the contract that they had to show up to reunion, and they had to discuss the things that's going on in their personal life and on the show as well, whether it was showing or not. If they heard about something, they needed to address it. And so I really appreciate because that the first season, the first reunion, I was really pissed when Kim was like, "Oh, I just don't want to talk about that. Right? We're not going to talk about it." I said, and Andy was like, "Okay." I said, "Oh no, no, no." And then the second season, it was kind of similar to that. But by the third season, people were saying if you're going to be on the show and you don't want certain information to come out, then why are you on the show? Now that I'm thinking about it, I looked up the whole Adrian thing, the whole because they bleeped it out. And if I was Adrian, I would be pissed too, but it also shows that Adrian is a liar because she was sitting up there. Y'all go look it up yourself. I'm not trying to get a letter. I'm not trying to get a letter. But um she was sitting up there having a conversations with the girls about giving birth to her children and was like, yeah, I had C-section with both of my children, both of my kids. And I was surprised that Brandy was sitting there like, oh yeah, okay, So y'all go look it up. But it just shows that Adrian is a liar. And even when she told Yolanda like Brandy was talking trash about her and she couldn't say what it was, she was just like, just know she does. And it was like, you have nothing, no, you're not credible at all. And so I'm glad that they put it in their contract that they have to be at the reunion unless it's some type of illness or something, and that they have to discuss these things. They can't just be like, well, I'm not going to talk about that right now. We're not going to discuss it because then people are not going to be held accountable. I need Kim to get off the show. I'm going to be real. And I get that I'm so late, years behind late, but I'm just saying, how much do I have to endure? Like, I understand I have to deal with Kyle for the rest of the franchise. It's like, girl, how much did you have to offer during each season? Like, Kyle continuously talk about her sister, and now this season she's holding on to this whole Yolanda and Lisa thing, and it's like, you clearly have nothing to talk about. Your life is boring. Um, and I just don't know how long I have to suffer. I don't want to really suffer watching her. She's very annoying to me in the crying every 5 minutes when it's nothing personal to her. Like, she has nothing going on that she needs to cry. You don't believe me? You believe her over me? Crying like, so what? Let her figure it out on her own. But let me let me ease into season 4. Um I'm gonna start my week tomorrow. My legs are really swollen right now, sitting down, um, sitting in a seated position. But I'm gonna try to get some rest. I just wanted to come back because I totally forgot. Matter of fact, it's a new day. Look, it's not even Sunday anymore. Um, but I wanted to come back to you guys and put that out there because that was the whole point of me doing the video today, or yesterday. Um, because I really didn't like Taylor's behavior, and I really hope that they look into his self infliction again because I just don't believe that he did that. I really find it suspicious though. But anyways, I'm gonna go to bed and get some rest. I hope you guys had a wonderful Sunday and wonderful weekend, and you keep fighting the hard fight. Um, don't give up. Don't give up so easily. Don't be like supposedly Russ and um, leave the earth. There's still more to live for. I'm not nowhere near there. Okay, uh, I'm not nowhere near there. So if anything like that happened, investigate. Investigate. I don't even know if it was no. We don't know. Certain things we just don't know. So I'm very suspicious of her. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great week starting tomorrow today. And I'll talk to you guys next time. I'm gonna try to put more videos. Don't hold me to it. But I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.